Put our hands together for Hector Perez. Be who you want to be.
So much preparation. A small group of employees came into work one day, only to find out that someone had died. Now there was a note on the wall that read, "Yesterday, the person that has been hindering your growth in this company has passed away, and we invite you to join the funeral that has been prepared in their honor." At first, all the employees were sad to find out that one of their own coworkers had passed away. But eventually, they became curious to know who was this person that hindered the growth of his colleagues and the company itself. As the funeral drew closer, the excitement among the employees was at its peak. Everyone wanted to learn the identity of this man. So on the day of the funeral, each employee was given the opportunity to spend a few minutes with the deceased. One by one, as each employee got closer to the coffin, their excitement and curiosity grew. "Man, I wonder who's in there," they'd whisper to one another. When the first employee walked into the room and looked inside the coffin, she was speechless. She stood next to that coffin in complete shock, as if someone had touched the deepest part of her soul. There was a mirror inside the coffin, and everyone who looked inside the coffin could see themselves. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, who do you see when you look into the mirror? Do you see someone that sets limitations? Or do you see someone that's completely unstoppable? The choice is yours, isn't it? You know, I like to think that we all pass a mirror at least once throughout the day. What do you do when you see yourself in the mirror? Do you hide in shame? Is it true that when we gaze upon our own reflection in the mirror, we tend to focus on our imperfections? We see our grays, our wrinkles, our aging skin. We focus on parts of our body that we like to change with a surgical knife. Guys, we look at our guts. Ladies, you look at your butt, don't you? Still, some of us can look into the mirror and see a glowing face with a charming smile and a warm squint. When I look into the mirror, depending on who I am that day, I might see myself as a dad, or myself as a husband, or whatever job title I happen to have that day. But the other day, when I looked into the mirror, I saw someone that I've never seen before. Ironically, it's the same person that I've imagined in my dreams over and over again. And to see him standing there in my home, looking at me for the very first time, I felt a sense of relief. Relief because I have searched my entire life looking for this person, and I've never been able to find him. The other day when I looked into the mirror, I saw myself, not as I am today, an adventurepreneur, but as a speaker, professional speaker. No, a top-paid motivational speaker. Come on now.
Yeah.
Now, this image that I saw wasn't the same image that you get in 3rd grade when they ask you who you want to be when you grow up. This was a splitting image of myself from the future. I looked into the eyes of something that was real. It was an image of myself that I've longed to see. Now, I got to be honest with you, he wasn't smiling at me, but he wasn't frowning either. He was just waiting. And had he spoken to me, I'm sure that's exactly what he would have said. I'm waiting. And it made me think about who I wanted to be, not in the future, but today. Who do you want to be today? Because I guarantee you that there's a person inside of you that you'd like to be, that you should be, but you're not. And one that we shouldn't be, that hurts us and holds us back. that we are. And the only difference between the two is just a matter of choice. Because I've realized that in my life there's certain actions and daily activities that I ought to be engaged in that I'm not. Certain decisions that I ought to be making every day that I'm not. And certain behaviors that I ought to be modeling that I'm not. And if you can relate to what I'm sharing with you, then there's probably someone in your home, in your mirror, who's just standing there waiting for you to stop being afraid of failure. Waiting for you to stop second-guessing your abilities. Waiting for you to stop making excuses for yourself. They're just waiting for us to start thinking and acting the way that they would, so that you and I could have what they have. You know, Ron texted me the other day, and I told him I had a long conversation with myself where it was just us, you know, me, myself, and I. And in this conversation, I came to the realization that there is a mode of operation that I've become accustomed to operating in. A mode where I am extremely productive, where I have the highest levels of drive, clarity, and focus, and where I'm getting things done. And you have it too. This mode, ladies and gentlemen, where you know that you're totally in the zone, this mode is called the GSD mode, or what I like to call the get shit done mode. Who knows what the GSD mode, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we need to be in order to become who we want to be. Are you with me? You know, on the top of my resume, the very first line is the objective, and it says to secure a position within a company that can utilize my incredible ability to produce extraordinary results. Let me say that again. To secure a position within a company that can utilize my incredible ability to produce extraordinary results. And I don't use that because I haven't gotten a job with it yet, so I don't know if it works. But that pretty much sums it up for me. I mean, that's the GSD mode. And I started thinking that's the mode that we need to be operating in, with the idea that if we don't start getting things done now, we might not ever become the person that we see in the mirror. So when you leave here today, I invite you to find yourself a mirror and gaze into the future. Find that person that you want to be and start to take action towards becoming that person. I didn't tell you this, but you remember how that young lady that walked into the funeral room and stood next to the coffin, you remember how she felt when she saw her own reflection in the mirror? Speechless, thank you. Shocked and speechless. As she stood next to the coffin and stared at her own reflection, she noticed there was something else in the coffin. Someone had placed a note beside the mirror, and as she read the note, she began to cry. Would you like to know what that note said?
By all means.
There's only one person in this world that's capable of setting limitations to your growth. And that person is you. My friends, be who you want to be. Not later, but now. Be who you want to be. Not tomorrow, but today. Do what you have to do in this moment, so that when the person that you are and the person that you like to be look into the mirror, they see the same person. Again, I invite you to be who you want to be. Mr. Toastmaster.